Arthur Morgan, first president of Antioch College, founded Community Solutions in 1940 to advocate for small local community, as he believed they were the seedbed of society. Today, we at Community Solutions believe that major societal changes will take place due to increasingly limited fossil fuel resources and CO2-driven climate change.
Most of the people that are interested in what we're doing are people that are really concerned about the situation in the world today. They're aware that we're starting to have resource limitations, things like peak oil and what some people are calling peak coal. It's a recognition that we can't continue to have a lifestyle based on fossil fuel consumption. And even more important, people are saying that it's not going to be a question of whether we run out of fossil fuels, but we don't dare burn the fossil fuels we have right now, or our planet might not be habitable. Americans generate about 19 metric tons of CO2 per person. Europeans about 10, China about 4, and the average person in the world about 3. And that high energy and high CO2 lifestyle is what can't continue. The division of that 19 tons, 2/3 of it is our own personal life. I wrote a book called Plan C, Community Survival Strategies for Peak Oil and Climate Change. And in that, I described the problem, a lot of the social aspects, and then the 3 areas that I think Americans should be focusing on, which is their food, their housing, and their cars. We've changed our diet in recent years on a planet-wide basis to eat many more meat products and prepared food. And both of those have a very high component of energy and CO2 generation. So that shift in our diet that's occurred in the last decades has actually led to the increasing generation of CO2 from food. The development of industrial agriculture and the end of the small local community was based on using fossil fuels. We now use 10 calories of fossil fuel for every food calorie. The use of fossil fuels then extended into everything else, which now we know has led to the major problems of climate change, almost a crisis of survival. Last year I produced a book called Spinning Your Wheels, in which I described a ride-sharing system that will allow us to share cars instead of everybody driving their own car, which would give us a very deep reduction in the CO2 emissions. In terms of our homes, we generate 4 tons per person from heating and cooling and taking showers and cooking and things like that. The film I'm working on right now is called The Passive House Comes Home, and it describes a movement that's coming from Germany that actually originated in the United States that shows us how we can build new houses and retrofit existing houses to use 90% less energy. Some people think that these technologies are far in the future, but they're really not. For example, the development of buildings and houses that use 90% less energy, this has been going on in Germany for 15 years, and there's over 25,000 of them that have already been built. In terms of ride-sharing systems, I saw a ride-sharing system based on a cell phone usage in Ireland 3 years ago, and it's actually being introduced in the United States. There's a lot of solutions that are being proposed. Sometimes they're called high-tech, intermediate tech, or low-tech. I think that we have to look at each of these technologies and determine exactly what is their savings. For example, in buildings, we have LEED, Energy Star, Building America. These are some technological solutions, but they really have a very small effect on the actual greenhouse gases that come out of building. In cars, we're looking at electric cars, pluggable hybrids, with the assumption that a car running on electricity, well, it doesn't generate emissions. However, we're really generating emissions at a power plant and then transmitting it to charge the batteries. These are very, very complex solutions that require rebuilding the grid, coming up with breakthroughs in battery technologies, and yet when you actually look at the CO2 savings, it's really very, very small, maybe 15%. So many of these high-tech solutions, when you go into them, they don't offer the savings that you initially think they will. These solutions are already present, it's just they don't seem to have the pizzazz and excitement. And they do imply a little bit of conservation, a little bit of change of habits.
To partner with us in our work, you can either call us or contribute online.